everybody! Okay, welcome back. Okay, so yesterday I did... We can kill the music. Kill the music. Alright, yesterday I did a stream where I had my switcher set up improperly when I was doing this little talk. I put all the effort into doing the talk. I want it out there. That's the purpose why I did the talk. So I wanted to put it out there. And I'm just going to go over this talk again. And next time you actually be able to hear me when I'm talking. And I actually thought about some other points. Now, when this video went live yesterday, I had... the first two comments were incredibly salty. First guy said, I'm unsubbing. I hate Common Core math. F you. You know, he didn't say F you. He just, I'm unsubbing. Gone. Bye-bye. I'm like, well, why are you following a channel that talks about math and filmmaking? And the second guy got pissed off at me because I couldn't multiply two numbers, like two-digit numbers in my head, 23 times 55 or something like that. And like, do you know I'm Asian, right? I can't multiply two-digit numbers in my head easily. So, anyhow, when you get YouTube pissed off, that's when you know you're doing something right. So I figured and this is something important to me. This is a kind of a personal thing, so I want to cover it again. I want to make sure that what I thought and what I was saying gets out there. And partly because I come from a background of engineers. My dad was an engineer, was a mechanical engineer. My grandfather was a civil engineer. And in fact, my dad would always tell me the story. My dad's passed on. He's been passed for like 20 years. He died when I was 19 years old, so a long time ago. But he would always tell me the story that when he was a kid growing up, he was getting a job in the late 30s, 40s. That's when he was coming of age. And he asked his dad, who was a civil engineer, he said, I'm interested in getting to electronic engineering. Do you think I should do that? And my grandfather said, no, son, don't go in electronic engineering. There is no future in electronics. So my dad became a mechanical engineer, and he always like, well, man, I should have gone to electronic engineering, dang it. And here I am. I guess I'm a video engineer. I mean, I'm very much a engineering background. You can see I'm Asian, and my dad's American. My dad's German, so I got the German side, and I got the Asian side. So of course I'm going to talk about math and why I think Common Core math is actually a really good thing, and why it matters to filmmakers. So let's get into it. Now, I was supposed to be teaching this year, last year, but the coronavirus killed it. So here's my chance to show off my prowess with PowerPoint, or at least not very good PowerPoint. Common Core math, and what that has to do with filmmaking. Okay, so let's say we got a problem, and it's 23 times 54. Yeah, no, I cannot multiply those numbers in my head. I'm sorry. I've never been able to do that kind of thing. Yet I've gone through 2 years of calculus. I've scored the top score on the final test in high school. So I've done the math. I've done lots of math. I do popular math on my videos, right, with filmmaking. But I cannot get those two numbers in my head with accuracy properly multiplied. So let's look at the old way of doing this kind of equation. And the first thing you would do is you would orient them in vertically, like so, 23 times 54, and then you would multiply each value. You would do the 4 times the 3 there. So start with the right side, 4 times 3, which is 12. And then we're going to carry that 1 over to the 2, right? So 4 times 2 now is 12. We're going to add 13, or I'm sorry, 4 times 2 is 8. See, I'm already screwing up here. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 1 we carried over is 92. Okay, so we got that fourth column, right? Now we're going to move over to the 5. We're going to skip a line, right? And then 5 times 3 is 15. And then 5 times 2 is 10. So there it is. 105, okay. Then we're going to add those two values together, right? And we're going to get 1142, right? 2 drops down. That makes sense, right? And we can just check it out with our calculator. In fact, I'm not prepared here. I should have had my calculator ready here. Let's jump into my phone here. You remember, like, in the old days, your math teacher would say, you need to learn how to do this math because you won't always have a calculator in your hand? What do we have these days? I mean, calculators in our hand. So let's do the math problem here. 23 times 54, and we get 1242. I screwed up in the math. So it's really easy to make a mistake because I don't know what I'm doing here. So let's see what I missed. I forgot to carry this 1 over here when I did 5 times 3. I didn't carry the 1 over to the 10. So it really should be 1242. Okay, so that's the old method. Now I'm going to show you one of the new methods that they teach when they teach the new Common Core math. So here is our problem again, 23 times 54. Now remember, this is just one of the strategies they teach you. This is called the area strategy. So we imagine this as a rectangle. In fact, I'm going to remove myself. I can do that, and hopefully my sound won't disappear this time. That was the problem last time. So we have a rectangle. It's 54 wide by 23 tall. Now we can break down that rectangle into smaller rectangles with numbers that are easier to multiply. So we're going to break down 54 side to 50. Oops, wrong button. 50 over here. And then we have a rectangle with 20. Now anybody in their head can multiply 50 and 20. That's easy. It's 5 times 2 is 10, and then there's the zeros, so it's 1,000. So we know that area of that box is 1,000, right? And we can drop that down and figure out the area of this box, which is 50 wide by 3 wide. 50 times 3, that's 150. That's easy. You can do that in your head, 150. Now what about the other boxes? So that's 4 times 20, that's 80. And then the last box, 4 times 3, one thing we do need to memorize our single digit multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, now what we do is just add all those together, right? So 1,000 plus 150 plus 80 plus 12. And you can actually almost do that in your head. 1,000 plus 150 is 1150. 50 plus 80 is 130. So it's 1230. 1230 plus 12 is 1242. And that's how you do the math. Now, a lot of people are going to be complaining. They're saying, why would I draw out all these boxes and do all this garbage when I could have done the algorithm strategy and just gone with a single stroke of a mark, right? Why do we do all this? Because we have these. We don't ever need to do even algorithmic math in our lifetimes. You will always have a calculator in your hand. I'm sorry, math teacher in my day. You're wrong. There's never tons of time when I won't have a calculator. Even if I didn't have a calculator in hand, I mean, I would be taught. You know, the thing people don't realize about the way math is taught nowadays is we're not getting rid of this old system. We're just adding to it different strategies. So we're also going to teach you the algorithm strategy, sure. But we're also going to show you the area thing. And I want to show you something here that maybe if you're not very comfortable with math, you might not notice. And that's when we do this area mathematics, it is exactly the same thing as the algorithm. Watch. Look at that, 80 plus 12. What is that? That's 92. And you see where that 92 is? We're doing the exact same thing. And the 1,000 plus 150, well, that is just that 115 there. That is exactly the same thing, right? Now, what happens when we get to a little more complex question? 23 times 54 times 13. Okay. Well, can we do an algorithm of that? No, we can't. There's no algorithm that will cover that. But if we extend our area concept, we can actually divide that into a cube. And then we can do a cube. Breaking down by cubes, right? What happens? We have a fourth dimension. Then we get into the tesseract version. So maybe our example breaks down. But the point is, we're not developing strategies necessarily to solve the problem. Solving the problem is not necessary. Like getting the right answer, like everyone's fixating on, I can get the right answer really quickly. I can beat you even faster with a calculator. I can get the right answer on a calculator way quicker than even your algorithm. Way quicker than even your algorithm. So why does this matter? And I see the chat's already complaining. Well, I'm waiting to see the filmmaking connection. Why does this matter? Okay, first of all, it teaches alternative ways to look at a problem. Let's see how many different ways we can get to the same answer. Notice, like I said, the purple and the greens are identical. That's exactly what's happening. And I think the source of all things, before we get into the big talk about filmmaking, the source of all things in our world that are dealing with real life is really a matter of being able to take a look at the problem and looking at it differently and figuring out ways, breaking it apart, finding the components, and figuring out the way of finding the solutions. So I think that's part of the good thing about why this mathematics structure is work. Again, this is the thing I've always argued with people. I struggle with people, and people are like, I was leaving a comment on my Facebook yesterday was saying, I hope you make a book called Common Core Math for Dummies. And I'm like, this math is aimed at second graders. This is not third power craziness. This is third power, Fermat's last theorem stuff. This is not like integrals, and this is not, derivatives. This is second grade mathematics. If we can instill this sense, this number sense, this idea of here's the underlying logic, I don't care about the right answer. The right answer is found in the calculator. It's right here. But if you understand the logic, if you understand the concept of multiplication, you get a number sense. And this is why Common Core got created. It was because the people at Stanford were, because everyone loves to complain about how the United States math standard scores are the lowest in the world. Well, you're not fixing it with your old math standards. Let's build in the system a more understanding, more intuitive understanding, mathematical number sense. And this is a way of doing it. And I think people that actually have excelled in math, I would consider myself that someone that excelled with math. I never took it anywhere where I use it religiously, regularly, because I'm not a real engineer. I make pictures look pretty, right? But people that have really good understanding of mathematics that go very far have this already intuitively in their heads. The people that struggle with math don't have this. But anyway, let's get back into it. Let's take a look. Let's answer the question. What more can we do with this? How does this lead to higher mathematics? Well, let's do this. Let's replace those numbers with variables. X plus A and X plus B, where X is the variable and A and B are both constants. And how do we multiply? There ain't no algorithm that's going to solve your day there, is there? You can't just line them up vertically and say, well, no, it doesn't work. So guess what happens? That area thing comes into really handy. We put it into our boxes, X and A and X and B. And then the first box is X squared. Second box is A times X. Third box is B times X. Last box is A times B, which is a constant we can call C if we want. But basically that becomes a polynomial, X squared plus A plus B times X plus AB. And that's what the multiplication of X plus B and X plus A is. So yeah, it leads to higher math, and we're teaching this in second grade. It's awesome. It's a good thing. Now, here's a situation where we don't. That example there is a situation where we don't know the answer. So we create a system for finding the answer. Now, if you want to get real specific how this applies to filmmaking, here's the exposure equation. All right. Now, let me raise show of hands. How many people have calculated their exposure using the exposure equation? All right, I realize this is online, so I can't see the audience here, but it should be nobody. Nobody in the world calculates their exposure using the exposure equation. It does. I've never used it. I know of it. I had to look it up. Honestly, I looked that up on Wikipedia, and I actually made a mistake there. It's actually n squared divided by t equals es divided by k. I just have C, it doesn't matter. But n squared, n is your aperture, t is your shutter speed, e is your scene luminance, or it should be L, yeah. Well, average exposure luminance, S is the isoarythmetic speed, and C is the constant. I picked the incident reading versus the reflective reading. So never mind, whatever, but those numbers are the same, the equation is the same. But no one in their right mind calculates that. No one gets on their scratch piece of paper and starts doing long division and calculate. Because we have calculators. And actually, not this one. We have calculators that do that for us. Our brand new baby, the C70. We have a calculator. We have a calculator that solves this problem for us. But knowing this equation, knowing this relationship between the numbers, that helps us become a better understanding of the technical side of filmmaking, the technical side of filmmaking. Now, also, so I don't want this to become all about the technical side. And I'm saying that this math and science is like all you need. I'll put myself on screen here. This math and science is the only thing that matters in filmmaking is math and science. It's just part of it. If you understand the relationships of what you're trying to do, you become the master of it, and you can use it for your creativity. Now, a lot of people talk about how in this world, when we're talking about filmmaking, because I always get the question, what does this have to do with filmmaking? What does this have to do with filmmaking? What does it? Because we compartmentalize our world into two different ideas. Like we have like this idea here. Let me pull it up. This idea of the left versus right brain. Left is the analytic side, the logic side, the idea, facts, math, and training. That's the left brain. And the right brain is creativity and intuition, arts, creation, feeling, and imagination. Well, that is bullshit. That doesn't exist. There is no difference between the left and there is no such thing as left and right brain. It's all one brain. Now, whenever I say something like that, that's a popular meme. People on YouTube will jump on my throat like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, John. Maybe I do, because it's the APA says the same damn thing. The APA says the terms left and right brain have come to refer to personality types in popular culture, with the assumption that people who use the right side of the brain are more creative, thoughtful, and subjective, while those who tap the left side are more logical, detail-oriented, and analytic. Here's a quote, but there is no evidence for this, suggests findings from a 2-year study led by the University of Utah neurologists who conducted analysis of brain imaging. There is no evidence that there's left and right brain, because it's all one thing. Quote, it's absolutely true that some brain functions occur in one or other side of the brain. Language tends to be on the left, tends to be on the right, but people don't tend to have a stronger left or right side brain network. It doesn't exist, man, because math and science and creativity are all intertwined. It's like they are bending together. You know, you have like, you know, architects who build buildings. They have to be very artistic and also very, very analytical and make sure that building doesn't fall down. You know, everything in the world, even pure math, pure art, even let's say painting. People don't realize this, but painting is a technological advance. The first cave paintings that man made on the wall, man, and I guess maybe women, I don't know, maybe back then they were women artists too. But the first paintings were made possible because of technology, because of chemistry. And chemistry has always been part in the creation of pigments. Technology has always been at the forefront of art. Art, and they're intertwined. You can't have one or the other. And a lot of times when you want creativity, if you want to imagine something, you want to imagine a film, right? If you want to imagine a scene where something occurs or a car explodes or something like that, well, you got to use your engineering side to figure out how am I going to do this and how I'm going to do it in a way that's safe or in the way that looks awesome and it looks cool. You know, like if you've seen an explosion, like a lot of explosions just look boring. They don't have the Hollywood has with the flames and orange glow and all that. But most explosions is puff, nothing. So you've got to use the creativity in order to figure out, science, you got to figure out the math, the chemistry to get it to work, right? So what I'm saying with Common Core math is it explores a whole lot of different ways to attack a problem. And realize we're not going to get the answer quicker. We don't care because we have ways to get the answer quicker. Like, I don't care. You know, do I care if I'm only worried about proper exposure? Why would I ever put this camera on manual? Why would I always just put it on exposure lock or shutter speed or fully automatic? If I want it full, and this is a camera, people, this is not a gun. If I want to put the camera on full automatic, shoot automatic, why not? That drives at the answer like that. But it doesn't allow you to be creative and control the camera the way you want it to. So that's how Common Core is linked up with filmmaking. It is all one thing. And to quote, I'm gonna go ahead and pull a call to authority. Probably the smartest man. I think we'd all agree the smartest man, that's at least in recent history, we can all point to Mr. Albert Einstein, right? Albert Einstein's got to be the smartest guy in history, right? So here's what Albert Einstein has to say. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. So even the smartest guy in the world will say it's not all about the knowledge, not all about mathematics, also about creativity. And And the way I'm looking at this statement, maybe you interpret it different. The way I look at this statement is creativity drives the knowledge. They're both interconnected. So, and how many times have you heard, I'm so sick of Hollywood regurgitating the same damn stories over and over again? Well, that's because I think we have compartmentalized ourselves so much as thinking that, well, I'm a filmmaker, so I'm going to go to film school and I'm going to study film school. I'm going to study how to make a film, and I'm going to that's going to be my understanding of the world, my career. I'm going to study this topic. And really, you should have gone out to art school. You should have gone to histories. You should use college. Like, I get frustrated with people that talk about college as in, well, you don't learn anything in college you use in real life. That's not the point of college. The point of university is to learn and grow as an individual and to become intellectually more, invested in the world. That's why you take elective studies. No one complains about forcing kids to take finger painting. Like that's more useless than math. Way more useless than math. What I'm saying is that if you're sick and tired of all these formulaic films and all that stuff, well, maybe we need to kind of just broaden our horizons and look beyond. Go bigger, go to the bigger topics, and like art, history, music, science too. I was invited to talk in the Philippines for this one organization, and they because I have a little problem with the idea of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, because I feel STEM is too cubbyholed. I liked what the Philippines were doing. They called it STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And like now, that is a full education. And I think what I'm trying to do with a filmmaker IQ is like my videos. I don't think there's some video. I think if you just watched my videos, you would never learn how to operate a camera. You would understand the concepts. You would understand the art of the basic understanding of the camera, but I don't show you actually how to turn your camera on. I'll let you figure that out on your own. But I think if we can get to the point where we start looking at the world more holistically, I know I'm going to sound like a really like hippie, like flower child. I'm not. I mean, I'm super squared button up, other opposite of that. But I have this streak in me where I like to look at the whole, and the way I look at everything has to do with film. Everything. You'll hear me repeat this on my channel over and over again. Everything has to do with filmmaking. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to put that out in the ethosphere because this is something that I've been thinking in my head. I don't want to make a full video, but I want to do a live chat and get it out there. So we'll hang out. I'll hang out with you guys for a little bit, but I want to go back and finish working on my set, which is a lot of engineering on a very basic level, along with carpentry skills, which I'm getting better at. Let's go into some of your comments here. So let's go ahead. I just saw William Walters. And if you're new to my stream, this is what we generally do, is I just kind of go through some comments and I kind of talk to you guys for a little bit after. Let's read this out loud. My parents are big into the anti-Common Core stuff. Last year, public school I did was 6th grade. Last year of public school I did was 6th grade. Been doing online school before the corona. It sucks trying to study at a busy home. I understand why people are afraid of the Common Core. But I also feel like the Common Core thing is very, very badly misaligned, whatever they call it. Because people that are angry about Common Core sit on Facebook and they argue endlessly about order of operations. The stupid memes on Facebook where they say, well, is it this or is it 9 or... But because they use a stupid division sign with that one line with the 2 dots over it. Because nobody in higher math uses a division sign. Because it's confusing. So we sit on Facebook all day and argue about order of operations and about PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And then you got those little memes of the tacos, and like 1 taco plus 2 burritos equals 5, and 2 tacos plus 1 enchilada equals 6. And all that doesn't make me hungry. Seriously, folks. No, it's because we complain about Common Core math because we don't understand math. Like what I was showing you was just different ways of achieving the exact same thing. How do I break this problem apart and look at it from different sides and then put it back together and look, it's the same thing. That's the beauty of mathematics. That's what's wonderful about mathematics, and that's what that's filmmaking too. How can I take this idea that I have of this movie and break it down into small components and then rearrange them? Oh, and get them to work here and plug them in here and then da. So, oh, there's a good point. Walter Williams says another comment. I'm picking on you today, buddy. Steam or no, this is Weekly Online. Steam plus history sounds good. Steam. There you go. Steam. Yeah, there is. I mean, okay, Steam is missing a social studies like language study aspect. So stealth. I don't know. We can figure out some sort of acronym. I think but yeah, I agree. Like you will not find me saying anytime, don't learn that. It's not worth learning. You wouldn't be on my channel if you thought. Because half the stuff I show on my videos is not worth learning. If all you're interested in is being able to turn the camera on and point it at something. Those guys, there's plenty of videos for you guys if that's all you care about as far as filmmaking. There's plenty of other channels to watch. Believe me, you don't need to watch me for that stuff. And I don't want to make it because I'm not even interested in that. I'm more interested in like the bigger picture, how the fundamental things work. So, anyhow, learning is the reason. Somebody was saying in the comments here. All right. So I'll hang out for a little bit. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time because I did want to just get this out there. But I love hanging out with you guys. I love just chatting with you guys because I don't have many people in my life. So especially now with the Rona, like I just like hanging out with you guys. So yeah, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to indulge a little bit and hang out with you guys. Okay. So some of these questions that aren't necessarily to do with Common Core. Is it true that some newer digital cameras don't have a physical sensor? The sensor just turns on and off instead of a shutter rotating. Yes. In fact, that has been the case, I think, for probably 30 years or maybe even longer. I think that's been the case since the beginning of cameras. I don't believe that they actually have, like, the beginning of video cameras, I don't believe they actually have a physical shutter. I believe it is all a matter of turning it on and off. Or they use that or use an electronic shutter, which is like kind of like a polarizer, like an electronic polarizer that you can flip on and off real quick. But I think most of them are actually just how long the allowed record time on. So yeah, physical shutters are not a real thing, except for film. I love this. Okay, I should teach with an abacus. Most Japanese are insanely fast at mental calculation. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, do we value mental calculation nowadays? I mean, is it valuable? Like, that's the ultimate. The question I get sometimes when I do the 24 frames per second thing. Is that, well, is there a way to make high frame rate look like 24 frames a second? And I'm saying, why would you want that? So, how I'm tying it together is that why do we need fast mental calculation when we literally have, I don't know where I put my phone now. There it is. We literally have calculators in our hands all the time. I realize, yeah, you need to like memorize like all your times tables, 1 through 10, go 1 through 12 even. If you can multiply anything by 12, single digits, I think that's key because you just want basic stuff, like I'm measuring, I have my screen out there is 81 inches long. So I went to the store and I bought a crown molding that was 81 inches. And I thought, well, how many feet do I need? And the guy instantly, oh yeah, you need 8 feet, at least 8 feet's worth. And I thought, okay. I had to think about 8 times 12 is 96. Was it 8 feet? Yeah, 8 feet would have covered me. So actually, I think 7 feet. I think I got 7 feet. Was it 7 feet would have covered me? 81 inches. Yeah, that's why I got 7 foot because I cut off 3 inches. That's right. So yeah, you do need to be able to make multiple. Look, I've done a lot of calculus, man. I do videos on math on the freaking site. I'm not good at mental math, and I don't know if you have to be. Do you have to be in this world? Walter Williams is going to make me break my brain. Now we're going to get into this world. Shake things up here. What about base 10 versus base 12 number systems? Somebody's been watching Number File. No, I mean if you want to go back to the Babylonians, yeah. What would number 12? What would the 12 system be? We have a lot of 12 system in our life. Like I deal with it every day, every morning. I've discovered the perfect way to make a soft-boiled egg is to put a very little bit of water in a pan, and then put the eggs in there, cover it up, and put it on for exactly 7 minutes. Now, sometimes I will forget to set the timer to 7 minutes, and I'll come back. Oh shoot, it's been on there for like 30 seconds, so half a minute. So I'll put in 650. Oh wait, 650 is not half a minute. So we have base 12 in our time. We have 12 hours in the half a day, 24 hours in a day. The 360 degrees in our circle. There's a lot of base 12, even 12 inches in a foot in imperial system. I know people on the internet. It's like verboten to talk about how the imperial system is actually useful, and it is. It really is. I find the imperial system much more useful in everyday like construction rather than the metric system, because I'd rather look at 12 inches than, what is that, 300 millimeters, 30 centimeters. It's 30's like a centimeter is just too small for like average everyday stuff, but it's great if you want precision. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want precision, millimeters is way better than trying to figure out eighth of an inch, 16th of an inch, 32nd of an inch, 64th of an inch. That gets kind of confusing. But millimeters for precision, wonderful. But for like building a set, feet all the way. Meters a little too long. But I might be a little bit. Oh boy. Hey Rossio, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, girl? You just said I just had a dream about you. We were filming a documentary about aliens. I was deathly terrified of aliens as a kid. Like I was really into aliens. I remember in like fourth grade, I made this book report about, because I watched Unsolved Mysteries at the time or something like that. A current affair would always doing like alien abduction stories, and I did a book report on aliens. And then one night I dreamt that I was abducted by aliens. Like it was a horrifying nightmare, scarred me for life. And I had like a little bit of broken cartilage on my earlobe. One of my earlobes, it used to be there. It's kind of gone now. But I felt it like, oh shit, they implanted like a thing in me. And so I was a very, very, very paranoid child. I scared of aliens. Oh my god! I went from being fascinated by aliens to being deathly afraid of aliens, like for at least 6 or 7 years. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy. Here's one. Filmmaker IQ. We're gonna jump on some topics here. Do you have any favorite video games? Right now, my favorite ones are Civilization, which I'm now at Civilization 6. I've been playing Civilization since Civilization 1, folks. That's how long I've been on that game. I really do like a game. I'm not very good at it, but I do enjoy the pace of it. I'm a very big flight simulator guy, so last year 2020 was my like dream. I got my flight simulator, which is an amazing game. Amazing. The freedom of it. I tend not to play it because I don't want to spoil it, because I love it. It is so cool. And I have a VR headset now, so the VR with Flight Simulator works. You have to set it up properly. If you don't set it up properly, it doesn't work very well. But if you set it up properly, it's like you can. I find myself flying in my plane. I don't have a yoke. I have a stick and a throttle, and I have myself just sitting there looking over the window and just watching the landscape, because it's so incredible. So flight sim, and I haven't played in a while, but Star Wars Squadrons. I'm a flight sim guy. I really like Flight Simulator. Let's see. Leo says, it's interesting that you said the brain is not split into two halves. Younger me was very good at science and math and always made me insecure about creative side. Don't be, man. That's the cool thing. Like develop your science side, dude. We all can't be good at everything, right? So develop the science side, and I think you will find the creativity will come. Because I've spent, I think I told the stream last time, I spent my senior year in high school in the Calculus BC class, and it was just four guys. It was me and three other jocks. Believe it or not, like a football jock, a baseball jock, and a cross country runner. And I was the music jock, so I was the music nerd and the four athletes. And we would sit there and we would play with problems on the board. Like, how do we get the derivative there? How can we use our creativity to figure out how to get this equation to equal that? We know the answer. How do we get there? What steps do we need to do? And that takes a lot of creativity, a lot of crazy creativity. Question here. Do you think film direction can be taught at film school? No. Yes and no. I think film direction is best taught through experience. I think if you sit down with somebody and you make them do a lot of different shorts, that's how you kind of teach it. So, um, hey, Charles Smith, you said you mentioned the Gestalt comment. Yeah, please go ahead and repost it. Don't feel you have to. Don't feel like I'm only seeing the very recent ones. So, uh, yeah, go ahead and post. Time to change my profile pic. Well, there it is. Now you see it on the stream. Alrighty. I see film schools breaking things up and let you choose which path you're going to specialize on. To be honest, I want to be a director, but cinematography really attracts me. Film school, like it's the same thing with business school. Like I was a business major, and I'll brag, I got a 4.0 in business. I got out in 3 years, folks. 3 years. I got out of college in 3 years because I was so ready to gung ho get out there in the business world and start making profits. I got out in 3 years, but then in business school, there's several different tracks. Essentially, you could become there's an accounting track. If you wanted to be an accountant, you could go down direction. If you wanted to be, well, everything else is kind of jumbled together. So I was kind of tending more toward marketing and logistics. I really liked logistics. I if I could have a job that wasn't had to do anything with filmmaking, it would probably be in logistics. Like I really enjoy the whole idea of how do we get an army to move. I guess it'd be the same thing as like if I wanted to take a production and do location company moves. How do we even do that? That's so yeah. Directing is something that you tend to directing is not like directing is a hard thing to say I want to do that and go in that direction because a lot of people end up being directors that through very different paths. Like if you look at directors like Ridley Scott came from it from like a production design aspect. Hitchcock came from it from production design. Hitchcock was a production designer before he was a director. Look at it for Wally Pfister was a cinematographer under Christopher Nolan, did the Batman movies. Now he's a director. You know, there's a lot. Directors can come from writers. Directors can come from anywhere. I don't think there's a lot of sound people. Directors can be editors. I think some of the comment was saying that do you want to shoot the way you edit? You can if you know you're going to be the one editing. And sometimes you just shoot to give your editor options, and then you kind of let it go at the end. So yeah, thanks for hanging out here. Let's go for a couple more questions. People are still asking some stuff. Here's a question. What are the chances of Panavision's analog cameras in the future versus Aries digital systems? I don't know. You got to ask Panavision that, man. I do not have any knowledge about their particular cameras or what they're doing as far as digital, or what are the chances of analog cameras in the future? Well, I mean, there's always going to be people. There's always going to be people shooting film. So I don't think they're. I think the people that are going to be shooting film are the people that have lots of money, so they're going to be affording a lot of Panavision stuff. Filmmaking jobs in the West are monopolized by the tribe. I think I was seeing this somewhere on another site that it's a mistake to think that filmmaking is only Hollywood movies. If you think that, then yes, they're monopolized. So, but if you think of filmmaking as what I'm doing now, YouTube videos about commercials, documentaries for nonprofits, even movies for nonprofits, anything, independent movies. There's so many ways to make motion picture, and I would say all that's kind of filmmaking. It may not be like filmmaking, Hollywood filmmaking, but it's all filmmaking. Someone said that filmmaking can be learnt but not taught. What are your thoughts? Anything can be learnt, not it can. I think you can teach some things. I am of the opinion that any one thing in filmmaking can be explained in 15 minutes. Although a lot of my videos are over 15 minutes long, so what do I know? Weekly Online says he started as a sound guy who listened closely and relate to actors as well. Pretty good director because of that. Good point. Look at that. Coming to directing from sound. Awesome. Oh, here we go. Charles Smith talking about, I think it's about Gestalt psychology. Perceive edges, negative space, relationship proportions, light, dark. Perceive the Gestalt from Betty Edwards drawing the artist. You know who else had a Brooke Block had a book, which I really like, called like this 5 aspects of visual. So there's an example of five aspects of visual communication or something like that. It's very important. Let me just look it up real quick so I can just make this recommendation. So I think you guys should check it out. Bruce Block. visual story, creating the visual structure of film and visual. Here, I'll put it up there for you guys to see. Let's go that one. This book, Visual Story, second edition, creating the visual structure of film, TV, and digital media. And that's very similar to what you're talking about Gestalt psychology, as far as like what it has to do with filmmaking. Hey, science, filmmaking, it's all related. He's not crazy. Yep, he said, and he says number 4, light and dark, also known as good old chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro. Very good point, Charles. Thank you for that. Adding to that. Yeah, definitely check that out. Check that out. I like this question. If they make another Tenet movie, would it be a sequel or a prequel? Good question. I think it'd have to be a prequel, right? Or no? It would be a sequel. No, wait, it's a prequel. No. So, alrighty, guys. Well, it is about 11 o'clock. I didn't say what I wanted to say today because I really wanted to get out there and make that point. And we'll come back for another live stream next Wednesday, probably. Well, I might be actually. I might do it Tuesday because I think I'm going on a short little vacation to get out of here for a couple days. I'm going to the mountains and gonna go take some photos of the snow. So yeah, check us back out next week if you want to check out Patreon. I'm posting some photos of the set as it's being constructed on Patreon. For Patreon members, you can kind of get a sneak peek, and of course, and it always helps. I'm not gonna lie. It all helps us, helps me maintain the site and hang out with you guys, and not have to be forced to do a whole bunch of other work. But I do appreciate everything you guys offer, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are even hanging out with me on this Thursday morning here, almost afternoon, almost noon. So, alrighty, guys. Well, all that's left for me to say is to go out there. You know what I'm going to say, right? Go out there and make something great. I'm John Hess. I'll see you at Filmmaker IQ. I can figure out how to turn on the stream. There we go. Bye-bye now. We'll see you later. Take care.